Let's travel back in time to that time that BJ was called out for creating a fake SWAT call. Let's hear all about it from two different panels, and we'll find out who she blamed, those mean girls.
This video is fair use. It is transformative and is protected under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, reporting, teaching, and more.
So our first stop is here at Deets on the Street. The stream is called Allegedly, and it's from 2024, February 29th. And this is the first time I ever heard about this fake swatting. So we, of course, have Deets. We've got Mallory on the panel who's going to share with us. And then a couple more people, I think, get up as well. We've got Granny, and yeah, we'll see. Anyway, it's me, TPE, and welcome to another video.
So right before I left was when the swatting incident happened. So one night we were on a live and she had just like randomly muted, and then nothing, like we couldn't figure it out, like what was going on. And then, so I'd be like, Britt, are you there? Or I'd be like reading something, and then I'd be like, are you there? Like, what do you think? Because she wasn't talking, and then she wasn't responding. And so then all of a sudden she comes back after, I think it was like 8 minutes, I think, if that's correct. If I know, yeah. But then she's like, she came back on this live and she's like, you guys, I gotta go. The police just showed up. I'm not sure what's going on, blah, blah, blah. She went on this whole spiel about the police showing up. And then she ended up ending the live. And then we were all very concerned. We're like, what the hell? Were you just spotted? What's going on?
Now you're freaked out for your friend. I get that.
Correct. And so, but at this point in time, I'd kind of started to already notice the little things that were not necessarily being lied to me, but being embellished to the point where I'd say something like, yeah, well, especially because I was like reading things. And I'd be like, okay, what do you think, Brittany? And then it would be like nothing. And I'd be like, well, never mind. Okay. So then she ends up ending the live. We're all freaking out. We're saying all this. I'm like, oh my gosh. And at this time, which I have told this to the other people, there was a group of people that Brittany claimed was behind everything that was happening to her.
Enter who Brittany J calls the mean girls.
Erin says she has this story about a bat flying around and police lights and siren. And the first story, it was EMS. Then the next was they had their gurney out and ran to her door. So basically, after this 3-minute pause, then you guys start getting different stories about what actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a ton. So then after that, at that point, I'm just like, I was still under the impression that these people were doing this. I was very adamant, which if you knew me while I was with Brittany, or you know me after, or you know me behind the scenes, like I don't like drama. I very much was very vocal that when she brought it up to me, I'd be like, just ignore it, nothing then, like, don't even think about it, don't engage. Like, that's why they keep coming back, is because you keep engaging and all this type of stuff. And
imagine that. The exact same thing that people who clearly appear to care for her are telling her to do today. These same things, and she doesn't do it. The vicious cycle of insanity, Brittany. The same things over and over, yet you come on here expecting a different result, or at least pretending to. I don't think you actually do, because you keep doing it, and you keep getting paid. So, I mean, if it's paying the bills, why not sell your soul? I mean, maybe that was a little dramatic, but you know what I mean.
Like, I would not talk about it with her. And so it wasn't until after I left that I realized how much she was actually in it. And like the trauma chats and stuff. Like, I don't know. But yeah, so there was, either way, regardless, it was at that point when I was like, okay, I need to just figure this out myself. So that's that night when she was like, oh my God, they just showed up. They literally were in an ambulance and they got out with the gurney, with the white sheets, and were running up to my house. And you should have seen the looks on their faces. Like, they were terrified, blah, blah, blah. Like, whoever said something told them that they were coming into something really bad. So at the time when I'm hearing this, I'm like, seriously, we need to figure out who did this. Like, I'm FOIAing the 911 call, because at that point I'm like, this is too far.
You think all of the people that she's told you about behind the scenes are legitimately going after her at this point. So you want to help your friend. I got you. I'm tracking.
So that night I literally went to her police station. I FOIA'd it. The next day I got a voicemail, and it was from like their, what's it called? Like their
dispatch?
Information person or something. Whoever I ended up sending the FOIA to is who I ended up, they called me and they were just like, hi, Mallory, can you please give us a call back? We have a few more questions on your FOIA request that you sent in. We need to clarify a few things, blah, blah, blah. So then I'm like, okay. So I called back and they like immediately answered. And I kind of just, public information. Yes, thank you. Public information officer. And I was just like, well, you know, I do a YouTube show. Like, I know this is hard because when you bring up YouTube, it's almost like to like law enforcement. It's like, oh, okay, YouTube. And I was like, okay, well, I do a YouTube live every night. And my co-host, the girl that I do the show with, was swatted last night. And I really want to be able to get the 911 call because I want to be able to hear the voices so we know who it was and so on and so forth, so we can go on from there. And he's like, well, that's the thing. There wasn't a 911 call. And I was like, what do you mean there wasn't one? That, like, and he was like, yeah, there wasn't one. There was, I'm trying to think of the exact verbiage that he used because I don't want to be quoted as lying or anything.
Something tells me it's not Mallory who's the liar in this situation. Just a hunch, just a hunch.
But it was something along the lines of there was no 911 call. There was no 911 call to that address. EMS or someone didn't go to that address, but then they said something along the lines of, now there was a call on that street earlier in the day, and it could have been something where like the EMS just showed up at the wrong house.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So to me, that would mean, like, if it was earlier in the day or whatever, and it was at the wrong house, that would mean that it happened earlier in the day to Brittany's house, you know, where they knocked on the door by accident and realized, oh, we got the wrong house and left. And then Brittany came on later and literally recreated the swatting, in quotations, of course. My. Now, of course, I don't know if that's true or not, just speculating. Now, at this point, I also kind of think it's fair to wonder if Brittany even answered the door at all. I mean, they don't seem to like to even answer the door for their own family members. So I find it hard to believe that they would answer the door for EMS, that they didn't even call for. But hey, what do I know?
So they were just letting you know that, yeah, no, we don't have any calls to that place, but we were in
Correct.
the vicinity and there is the possibility of them. Okay. Gotcha.
That they accidentally did the wrong house if your person is claiming that someone showed up. And I'm like, oh, so there was no like actual swatting 911 call or anything like that. And they're like, no, there was literally no 911 call to that address at all. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I was like, thank you so much for, you know, letting me know. I appreciate your time, blah, blah, blah. And then I hung up. And like, I still have the voicemail because I don't ever delete anything. So, but I then went to her and I specifically said, hey, like, it was all just a mess up. Like, they said that there was a call down the road. And like, that it was just an accident. I don't know why they did it the way that you're saying they did it, but like, they were just at the wrong house. Correct, Alex. Yeah. Right. And so it was earlier on in the day that supposedly that other call had happened.
So I'm remembering something that I heard, I believe from Mallory, I can't say for sure, something that came out around this time, and I didn't actually hear this part in the clips that we're reviewing, so I'm just going to tell you based on my memory. I remember something like the original call had been possibly for a woman who had fallen and hit in her head. I can't remember if it was a bathtub or a flower pot, but one of the two. And that's what the original call was about. Now, I don't, again, remember where I heard that, unfortunately, but you'll have to take my word for it. Or maybe you can leave it in the comments if you remember too what it was. Or feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it was like a flower pot beside a hot tub or a bathtub or something. It was something like that.
But then when I had told her this, it was along the lines of like, oh, well, I called and talked to someone. This person went to high school with Craig, and they were just, you know, blabbing about everything, saying like, well, there was a call in that street earlier on in the day, but that person was transferred to the hospital and admitted, so there wouldn't have been a follow-up call, which is what they're claiming was the accidental show up or whatever. And so she just kind of went on and on about how like it wouldn't have done that. Like, why would they have looked so scared and brought this and brought that? And after that night, I remember talking, I don't even remember who it was to, about like EMS workers are never going to take the time to get a gurney out of the ambulance before they know what emergency is occurring because they want to get out there first. So I remember being like, that doesn't make sense. Why would they show up terrified with the gurney and white sheets before they know what's actually going on? And so it was one of those things where it's just a lot of stuff. And the call that she's talking about, I was on the phone with her when she ran into who she claimed was a sheriff in her community at the gas station. Now, I was on the phone for that, yes. But it was muffled. I could hear her side, but I could not hear his side. And what I understood was, all she said was something along the lines of, oh, well, did you hear that? The police officer just told me that they're already investigating a false 911 call because they know it wasn't true.
Okay, so going back, now I'm getting nervous.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
So I didn't have a conversation with Brittany about this, but being a nurse working, you know, in the emergency field, you're not going to have an ambulance pull up and leave within 3 minutes. And I heard this story and I was like, what? And so the next day I went back and looked at the transcript and I put it on 0.75, listened to the background noise because I was like, this is just not right. Like, what is she talking about? Because I think that night I messaged Mallory and I was like, what is going on? And she was like, I don't know. And so I went back and analyzed it, kept all this to myself, never said anything to anybody. But I was just like, you know what? This is wrong on so many levels. And I just listened to the story and the narrative play out, and it just changed from first I come knocking on the door, then the next story you heard was, oh, they had their gurneys out and everything, and they know me because of my father-in-law coming here. And then it was the next day the sheriff, she saw him at the gas station, and he was like, oh, we already know who swatted you, and we're after them. And so I did all this listening and observing, and kept to myself. I rarely talked to Mallory about this. We did. Her and our stories are pretty much concurrent because we figured it out on our own. So pretty much what she's saying is correct. And yes, there are tidbits we're leaving out.
That's fine.
And because nobody deserves to have their laundry aired out.
Yeah.
I'm not about that.
So for me, this is the first time that I had heard this story about this fake swatting come out, and it was on Deets' panel. So the next one is going to be on a different panel, and we get a little more detail in that one, which is why I'm going to include both of them.
But you have to understand that this is how she twists things, because someone was out there for an incident earlier in the day, and maybe in her mind she thought, oh, this will be a good grift. I can turn this into, you know, a little bit of truth into a lot of lies and have people have sympathy for me. And I just, oh, I can't stand that, because if you listen to all of it, it just was so twisted.
It's manipulative. Like Unsupervised Maniac said, that's definitely emotional manipulation if it's completely based on lies. Absolutely is.
And that's what BJ does. And that's why I do not understand why anyone is sticking up for this, making excuses for this. And that doesn't even include all the abuse and addiction that is going on in the background. And right in front of your face. Literally nothing has changed. Well, besides it getting worse and worse and just escalating further by the day.
And this is why I'm coming forward and speaking, because I know a lot, because I've listened a lot. And I was good to Brittany. I modded for her. I dropped her links. I was there.
Yeah, and I mean, there were a handful of other situations. Like Aaron said, I don't want to necessarily start airing everything out. But I did get uncomfortable in certain situations where she would bring something to the live or to the subscribers where I'm like, that's not how it went down. And she would just be like, don't talk about that. Or like I said, like about the 911 call, she like said to me, I was like, well, why are you bringing it up if we know it was not real? She's like, I don't know if it's not real because, you know, I think they were lying to you and I think they're trying to cover something up.
Wow, it kind of sounds like more of the whole town is against me.
And I was like, why?
Wait, okay, so she thinks she was trying to convince you, gaslight you into believing that law enforcement had lied to you.
Yeah, and I think, I want to say this wasn't long before I left, because it was for the few months before I left, which I've been told that it wasn't as hidden as I would have liked it to be. My verbal cues of being annoyed and not into it anymore, I've been told, were very apparent, apparently. But there were a lot of little things that had led up to it, or like little things where before she would listen to me and stop doing it or not bring me into it or something like that. But it was when she started to like be like how she told some of the mods now that I'm finding out, like, oh, well, Mallory heard this and confirmed it. It's like, if anyone were to come to me, I would be honest about everything that has happened. And I think I've been very open about that, especially with people that either I had beef with because of things that she had said that I either said or did, or other people said I did or said, or what other people have said or did. And there was just a lot of, I had to apologize a lot. And
so she was using you to validate her antics, actions, lies, because she knows people take your credibility seriously. They know your character and they trust it. That is wild.
Sounds about right to me. She's definitely known as a user.
Yeah. Selfish people are everywhere. Whether it's selfish of your time, your talents, or your money, whatever it is, they're just everywhere. And we have to be better at spotting that and moving on a little quicker.
Yeah.
Well, Brittany's more than selfish. Because the fact that I'm mad, I mean, she is, because either it was me, it was Melissa, it was Allie, one of us in our group of people were accused of that, of doing that so-called SWAT. And that's not okay. That is so damaging to people. And that's the type of stuff she does. And she has everybody's heads filled with, you know, Melissa's stalking me and Allie's doing this and Granny's so evil. She's doing this and this and this. And meanwhile, she's the one doing it to us. So I'm not asking you to give names, but if one of the three in our group of people were blames, can you just say yes or no?
So
or can we narrow it down?
Yeah. I'll just say that there was a group of people that she had a name for, which I'm not going to air that name. I'm sure people,
please don't.
People who know what the named group is will probably write it in chat, because it's not necessarily something that we hate being known as anymore, because we've empowered that. But still, I'll say for you, Granny, I never heard your name up until after I left.
Okay.
So
I'm probably those vengeful, hateful mods.
Well, damn, Jay. Okay.
Right. I mean, it's obvious. The mean girls, Jameson and Megan and Thug and Sarah, they were so mean to her, and they just wanted to destroy her because, you know, she swear to God, if you had to ask God himself, he could tell you what I did to them. She treated them horribly is what she's done to them.
Yeah.
But that's all I wanted to know, though, because
No, you're good. And the thing is when I was referred to things, it was always just, it had to have been someone in that group. It was never like, oh, Allie did this, or I think MJ did this, or I think Shay did this. It was never anything like that. It was always just the group as a whole, someone was involved in it. But when it comes to that group, like Granny, you weren't in that group when it was told to me, if that makes sense.
You know how large that group is today? Yeah, it makes sense.
Well,
Okay,
I'm now in
so,
group, apparently.
yeah.
I think we're all a part of this group
Yeah.
now, aren't we? Mean Girls Unite. Here we are.
Yeah, but you know what, though? And while we're joking that, like, we're all now part of this group, the fact of the matter is this group started out with a small group of women that is sit by as she lied on them, did strings on them, disparaged them, put them down, because for some reason, whatever it may be, she can't just let people move on. She has to disparage them and make them out to be the worst people ever. And thankfully, that group has grown because she gaslights the hell out of you. I mean, she will drive you nuts with it. But there was a point where these ladies had to, like, idly sit by, and now you've experienced it, Shay Benet experienced it, where you're, like, just baffled at what she's saying, and you don't really have a voice, especially the ex-wives, of which many of them I communicate with, and they're great people.
Yeah.
They just wanted to guide her on the right track, and she didn't want that. She's trying so hard to sit in with and fit in with these people, and this is what happens when you do that. You know, you have a lot of people within this chat that have been seriously hurt by her. And imagine how many people in private she told that these mean girls, they swatted me. And it was a lie. I mean, that is damage and that is serious. And why does she do these things? Because for one reason or another, she has to always come off as a victim. She will never own what she has done to people. She will never admit that she is the instigator. She is just a woe is me victim. But the sickest part about it, and she does it under the guise of real victims. You have missing children. And it infuriates me. You have missing children as your thumbnail and the photo, and you're spending 30 to 45 minutes with a victim you are of your own mouth, and then followed up about your financial needs. It's horrific. She is literally the definition, in my opinion, of what I call a tragedy pimp.
They only want me for my pimp juice. Still got that. You know it's hard out here for a pimp.
And I, for one, and I know as well as few of the ladies in this chat, have dealt with this for years, and we're just tired.
All right, so that was from Deets on the Streets, and next we have some clips from Nonsense's stream with Mallory, and both of those links will be in the description along with a couple others. All right, let's get into some nonsense. Oh, and with this stream came receipts, so I'll make sure to include some of those as well, specifically pertaining to the fake swatting. There are other receipts in there as well. Again, I'll provide the link in the description.
4th. Okay.
Oh, different time.
Yeah. So she just, this was sent to me because I was trying to figure out with the FOIAs and stuff. Okay, 23.
Holy shit.
So this was me trying to get stuff for the FOIA, but because she deletes everything, I just wanted it shown that this was the live here that it happened in. So if anyone does actually have that live downloaded for some random reason, let me know, because that's the live that the quote unquote SWAT happened in.
Air quotes, of course.
After the 1 hour and 15-minute mark. Okay. So we're on a live and I'm on panel, obviously. So I don't necessarily remember a ton of information about what was happening in chat or anything like that, because at the time, Brittany was just muted. And so I was just kind of trying to continue the live. I was like, what are we doing? Because obviously there was never really, unless I set something up, a structure to each live.
Sounds about right. Some things do not change, like most things over there on BJ's channel. Except now she doesn't have anyone left to help, create content for her. Nobody's stupid enough to do it.
I knew what we'd be talking about, but that was about it. And she goes away and she comes back and she says something along the lines of, EMS was just here. They came up to the door with their gurney and white sheets with the most terrified looks on their faces. And I don't know what's happening. Or something like that. I don't exactly remember word for word. But she brings it up on the live. The live starts calling it a SWAT. Were you just swatted? Were you just swatted? Which is where I believe she got caught on, because at first she was just saying EMS. She was not calling it a SWAT to begin with. But once they said swatted and she realized that that was a trigger word for a lot of people, it stuck. She claims now she never said the word swatted. But here is
Receipts, receipts, receipts. Here we go. Here's a little receipt for you. Just a little one, proving she's a liar.
This was a text that I got from her on May 24th, 2023 at 10:09 p.m. Do you find it ironic I'm swatted the night blank shows up? So here is her utilizing the word swatted. There's that lie. Right, Chris, right. But at the time, we thought that just a 911 call had been called in to get people there, and that it was just that it was meant to have like the police show up and everyone show up. And like that was the plan, but that EMS showed up first, and when they went to the door, it was nothing. So I end up FOIA-ing that night. I can show you, hang on, this.
I am kind of curious though, actually. I wonder if BJ knew about it being FOIA'd. Like, did BJ know that Mal was going to FOIA it? Did Mal say, I'm going to FOIA it so we can find out which mean girl did this to you? Or did she tell her after? Just something I'm curious about. No big deal.
This one. Nope, this is the other one. So as you guys can see here, this is me in the information for the FOIA.
Yeah, sorry to people who are watching. It is kind of hard to see, but Mal is going to eventually read it out. I tried doing different colors to see if that would help. I can't see it. I'm on a phone. I don't know about you guys. But
so if you guys see here, this is
you'll get it when she reads it.
The FOIA that I had put in. It says approximate time. I obviously blocked out her city and the location. And this is what I had written. A swatting call. So this is what we were all calling it the night after that live, based on what Brittany was telling us. On my YouTube partner, which, remind you, I'm doing this on an after panel with Brittany and other people there. So they're helping me write this. While we were on a live stream, EMS showed up looking frazzled. Would like to hear a 911 call that was called regarding a medical emergency. Was a false report on their address. Then you guys can see it has my name, my email, which is still my email. So if anyone ever does need to reach out to me, there it is. And then I blocked out my phone number. And so I end up getting an email back from their like dispatch person. So if you guys see here, it says online form submittal, audio and dispatch CAD records request. So our thought process was behind the scenes, Brittany is telling us that this SWAT happened because of the mean girls. So obviously if you guys have been within this realm and have heard different things, there's a group of girls that had left Brittany who she referred to as the mean girls. She believed that they were behind everything that was happening to her, that they were doing everything real life, that they were coming into every chat she was in and making her feel uncomfortable and bullying her, and that it was them, that someone in this mean girl group had called this in as a swatting and so on.
Okay, back to my last question. So it's kind of sounding like, well, it was our thought process, but I don't know if that was with BJ or not. So if BJ did not know about this FOIA, would that make Mal the original FOIA starter? That's my question. Interesting. I'm mostly joking, so please don't take me seriously. I really don't care that much. Just a question. Like, who really is the OG FOIA starter? And maybe BJ did know, so I'm not here to spread rumors. I'm really just curious and asking a question that I don't even really need the answer to.
And so at the time, our mindset, which if anyone that's in chat was on this back panel, please, if you remember, feel free. But we were going to ask for this 911 call because we knew all of the mean girls, and I say that as I'm doing my fingers.
Air quotes on the mean girl.
Air quotes on the mean girls.
Thank you. That we knew all their voices. So
Actually, that's funny. Megan VR said, can you clarify which mean girls she's speaking of? Because we were part of a mean girls group, and I know there's been several
yes.
after.
So the mean girls that she was focused on when I was there was Allie, Wolfie, Shay. She'd sometimes throw Melissa in there just because she always thought Wolfie was working for Melissa. Yes, you guys, I didn't actually hear about like Granny or Megan VR, which now seeing how she is with Granny, it surprises me that I did not hear her name that often. But yes, so during that time, it was like that group of girls that she thought was behind it, which we had all heard their voices. So we were just going to try to get the 911 call to figure out who did it. So I had done that. So then I got this email back and it said, "Good morning, Mallory. I have attempted to call you back in reference to gathering more information about this incident. Please return my call." And put the phone number. So you guys can see it's in response to my filing here. And then I called back. So give me just a second. I went all the way yesterday and went to my cell phone records. So you guys can see that I had a phone call with the phone number right here at May 26th at 10:22 a.m. for 2 minutes. And you guys will see that.
Can I for 1 second? Lana asked, are these recent events? They're dated, so you'll see the time on them, May 25th, 2023. And the reason why it's being brought up again is because Mal has been being named in some of Brittany's recent, as of Saturday night, accusations. saying she's obsessed with her, all these things. Mal has actually only recently started to really speak out about it. And it's just amped everything up. But Brittany had been doing that before Mal had started to say stuff. She had been drugged recently into things. Yeah. And Saturday night, she had a lot to say and invited Mal to do this. Her own words. Yeah. If you scroll back to the beginning of this video, you will hear Brittany ask for this to be done. Do it. She encouraged it to be done.
My call logs, just so everyone can see that I did have a 2-minute phone call with the dispatch people.
Yeah, it kind of seems like BJ was taking advantage of Mal's, I don't know, she seems super nice and kind to me. She didn't out everything. She claimed there was a lot more she could have outed. And I think Brittany maybe thought she was safe in that regard and started to talk shit about her. So nobody's safe, BJ. Don't talk shit about people that used to be your friends. Because look what can happen. Someone will come and tell the truth about you.
And in that dispatch phone call, I had talked to the person and brought everything up. And the person was very nice and was like, I need to figure this out because there was no 911 call to that address.
Ruh-roh.
And I was like, well, she had them show up at her house and all this stuff. So he goes on saying, like, I don't know what you're looking for in this FOIA request or this records request because there was no 911 call to this address. And I said, well, she had them show up at her home on a live, and she talked about all this on a live. And he was like, well, there was no 911 call to this address. And he said, but there was a 911 call down on that street, down the road, that he said something along the lines of having to be dispatched twice or something like that. So there was one earlier in the day, and then there was another one where they had to go back to transport someone.
So if this is all being retold to us correctly, there are some receipts to show that it is legit. I think the original call came in, and that's when they showed up to BJ's house, and that would have been earlier in the day. Whether she answered the door, who knows? She does not have a good history of answering the door, so that's important to think about too. So they obviously went to the wrong address and didn't know where they were supposed to go for the actual call, and did go back later at some point and pick up the actual person who was ill. So does that mean, like I said earlier, that BJ literally recreated this situation and did it on a live for sympathy? Very possible. I certainly would not put it past her. And I'm sure I'm going to get, oh, TPE, she just hates Brittany. She just takes any opportunity to say shit about Brittany. No, if I did that, I would be on here all the time talking about you. I'm not. I just call shit out when I feel like it, when I see it, when something triggers me to do so. You know, like today, because I felt like it. And mainly because I brought it up in a chat, I think it was last night. So I thought, I should speak on that. Maybe some people don't even know about this. Maybe some people had forgotten that it happened. You know, since she was recently swatted, in quotations, of course, and that she had also lied about being swatted in the past. I just think it's important, that's all.
But either way, he had said, like, there was no 911 call to that house. If they did show up, it was an accident. But there was no 911 call to that house. So I immediately called Brittany after I got off the phone. And was like, dude, it wasn't like, I was happy. I was like, it wasn't a SWAT. Like, it was just an accident. Like, and she was like, well, actually, I called and talked to them, and they're telling me that they just can't find the 911 call, but that they know that it happened.
He's like, well, actually, I called and talked to them, and they're telling me that they just can't find the 911 call, but that they know that it happened.
This was also the same day that she talked to a cop or a sheriff in the gas station when I was on the phone with her. She utilizes that and says that I heard the whole conversation. I did not, and I told everyone from the jump, including her, that I did not. I could only hear her side of the conversation. I could hear someone talking, but I could not hear what was being said.
Tia, thank you for popping up for a moment. Sorry. Continue.
And so she just said something like, I think that the police are trying to hide this from us. Something weird is going on.
So one thing I'm noticing after watching these two separate streams is that Mal's story really hasn't changed. It's pretty much the same. She has added a few more details in the second stream, and I know I've heard her again on another panel or two, and more details come out. And I think that's because she just kind of felt bad and didn't want to expose too much. She's seems like a nice person. I don't know, she did some messed up things and looked people up, and we're going to hear a bit about that coming up. But what we just heard her say sounds exactly like how BJ likes to blame everyone else, like the whole town is against her. Just like when the POs happened, she wanted to blame the clerk. She wanted to blame basically the whole town. I don't need to get into it. You all probably remember. But basically, she's blaming everyone except for the person responsible, which is herself.
Where I was like, no, they just told me there was no 911 call, that it was an accident, like they went to the wrong house. And she was like, no, the person I talked to went to high school with, insert her partner name. And so she was telling me way more than she should have. And she says that she knows that there was a call. They're just trying to find the call. And I remember being like, no, I don't think so. But like, obviously at that point, I wasn't questioning my friendship with her. Nothing had really happened at that point. So I just kind of took her for her word. But I do have messages with other people where I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why are they telling her one thing and us another? Like, why would the police be lying about this? But then I'd bring it up more and more to her, and she'd tell me to just stop talking about it. Don't bring it up. People will forget about it. All this stuff.
How convenient, Brittany. Just don't bring it up. People will forget. Let's just brush it under the rug like it never happened. Wow, it's kind of messed up.
So it was during that time that she starts naming the Mean Girls as doing this, but then she starts doing stuff behind the scenes that started giving red flags. That includes trying to get me to search on different people. Some of them I did, because at the time I'm thinking these people are going real life. And I was trying to protect her and her family. And that's something that it's hard for me because it's still something I'm very ashamed of. But I was given access to...
Mal, you just said access. Sorry. Couldn't help it.
But I was given access to the subscriber's Truth Finder, 4 cases. And Brittany had multiple times called me on the phone and been like, can you look this up for me? Because she knew I was the one who had the passwords. I've touched on it a handful of times. There's certain things where, you know, we were on an after panel and she had asked us to go search into people's real lives, including a creator on this app who she had an issue with that had a death in the family tragically, and had asked us to find anything that we could that could link that creator to being at fault for that death in their family.
BJ, that's disgusting. You pretend like you don't go real life, but we all know you do.
All of us were very uncomfortable.
That's ooh, that makes me mad. Ooh.
Yeah. But the thing is the part of this that worked for her is that I was very naive in this because I didn't know her history. I didn't know that a lot of the stuff that she was having me look up was stuff that she already knew. And that I still to this day don't necessarily understand why she was having us look up information that she already had.
Well, I think I can answer that, just an assumption, but she was using you as the fall guy, so that if it ever came out that things were looked up and people were looked up, she could blame it on you for doing it. Just a guess. Just my assumption. I mean, it makes sense to me.
Okay, so we all said no to that, or we told her we couldn't find anything to the person with the death.
All right, I just wanted to make sure I got that part in there where they said they basically didn't continue further with doing that to that person. There's a lot more where that came from. If you go and check out both of the lives that we kind of covered here, I only used a bare minimum. I kind of searched for just the stuff to do with the fake swatting that BJ came up with. So that's what we covered here today. It was heavily clipped in a way, but I kind of tried to show when I was clipping it. Anyway, the links are in the description. You can go check them out. The full live streams are there, and there's a lot more BJ receipts in those live streams. Definitely check them out. And I just want to thank everyone for being here. If you're still with us after 35 minutes and 28 seconds or wherever we're at, I appreciate you very much. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like, the hype, all the free things, I would appreciate it very much. Thank you guys so much for being here. Toodles!
Step right
What is my sin? Let's see. Now I want you to keep in mind, guys, it's not my breathing, it's my nose. I'll stop breathing. I'm gonna have to stop breathing through my nose. It's not my breathing, it's my nose. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm listening to what they're saying, and I'm breathing through my nose, and I'm forgetting I'm in the mic. I'm so sorry, y'all. But I promise you, it's not my asthma, Boston. It's my nose. Listen. Here, it's awful. It's my nose. I'm sorry. It's making a squeaky, funky, weird, rattling, squeaky, weird, rattling. I don't know. But I'm not fighting for my life. Shit sounds like you're fighting for your life. I'm not fighting for my life. I'm good. It's just my nose. In a minute, I'll go get my neti pot. Okay? But I'm good. You can't just cut asthma on and off, y'all. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's my. So what's happening is we got, what do you call it? We got the humid, cool weather outside, and then I'll turn that heat on, and it's making my nose stop up. So I'll stop trying to breathe through my nose. So I'm gonna play that again, y'all, because I'm telling you, honest to God, I don't know.
Hold on a minute.
Huh?
Oh,
Did you have to even-
that's lovely. She's totally screen sniping us right now. She's
sniping you.
Yeah, now she's not playing it like
It doesn't
she's
matter.
behind, but she's still, yeah, she's literally screen sniping right now as we speak. You miserable twat waffle. I cannot stand you.
Easy, distract them and they'll never know. But anyway, have fun.